Good morning, YouTube! This is Supper, and today in my vlog I would like to show you some of my 40k collection and tell you the fluff story that is behind it. Let's start with the story then. Long time ago, even before heresy, when humans lived in the Golden Age, the Emperor of mankind was able to unite Terra with Mars. Priests of machine cult were always putting logic in the first place, and after long analyzing, they realized that with such a strong leader, the Imperium of Man will one day be able to destroy Mars and they will have to obey. So they decided to join Emperor in his crusade until they will be able to separate, and maybe even replace him with one of their own. After a few millennia, priesthood of Mars had their forge worlds and agents spread around the worlds of mankind, working within structures of Imperium and waiting for the right time. They knew that the Emperor is extremely intelligent and they had to work with caution. But then Horus started his heresy. Some of mages decided to join him, but it was not an option. High Conclave decided that the ruinous powers of chaos will lead them to destruction, and even though they wanted more freedom in their research, they knew it's not the way. Civil war on Mars has begun and finished. Forces of Mars won, just as Imperium, but the Emperor was mortally wounded. Conclave knew that this is the chance that might not repeat again. After a long and precise analysis, Techrist acknowledged that there is quite a big chance that if Emperor dies, he will reborn even stronger, maybe even with godlike powers. They had to act, and had to act quickly. High Magos of Mars arrived to the palace and informed everyone that in his possession there is an artifact, a golden throne, that will support Emperor's life. He will not be able to act, nor speak, but maybe one day he will recover from his wounds. Lords of Terra agreed at once. They knew that with Emperor out of the way, they will have absolute power over the Imperium. Another thing the priesthood was able to achieve was weakening of chaos. They knew that untrained psychers are open gates for demons, so they told that machine to work properly will need psychers' souls. Small price to be sure of Imperium survival. With Emperor out of their way, priesthood of Mars was able to move their plans forward. The armed revolution was never an option. They had enough men and technology to win against the Imperial Guard, but the wounds Empire would take would make it too easy target for other enemies. They had to act slow. For ages, they were creating Skitari forces and Secutors all around the universe. Magos even tried to work with Space Marines Genseed to create for themselves fists that will be able to take fight to the enemy. Most of their experiments with 21st Founding was corrupted or destroyed by forces of Inquisition. They managed to save only one chapter from hands of the Ordo, the Minotaurs. When it appeared that they are incapable of cooperation, Mages sent fleets that captured every one of them and escorted to one of long-lost forge worlds, where there were objects of experiments for a few next millennia. When they appeared again, there were lots of questions, but agents of Adeptus Mechanicus destroyed every piece of history about them. They needed to stay safe. Mars is currently supporting them with best equipment and with constant flow of recruits. Tough they work as a chapter, there is much more of them hidden in the Forge World, getting ready for the right time. Another force acquired by priesthood were squads. Forgotten by Imperium and Adeptus Administratum, their worlds were lost during Tyrannid invasion, but remnants were saved by Mars fleet. After acknowledging that Empire decided not to help them save their home planets, they become sworn enemies of Terra and strong allies of Mars in their crusade. They always liked technology, so very fast found common language with tech priests. Unlike humans, they were not afraid of using Xenostech, so after a few hundred years of creating new fleet-based home, they arrived at the Tau borders. Tau gave them few planets for their new home and shared some of their technology. Okay, so now let me show you some of my miniatures. First of all, I would like to say that I never liked Space Marine models. I always preferred orcs, Tyranids, Dark Eldar, maybe Slaaneshi Chaos. Those were the models that I liked in 40k. But unfortunately, I am mostly a player. I One day I hopefully will be able to have all the models that I like. But for now, I'm trying to collect uh, models that I have fun playing with. And the best, most strategic options are for me in Space Marine forces. So I decided to collect one of the chapters. I never liked any of the chapters from the rulebook, the typical Codex Astartes chapters. So I were looking for something else. First of all, I wanted to create my own chapters, so I would have the possibility to use any chapter tactics that were in the rulebook. But then I found Minotaurs. They're from the 21st Cursed Founding, and they're created to destroy other Marines. Isn't that cool? And they are not chaos, so this is even cooler. So I decided to create full chapter of these guys. For now I have got something about 2 companies. You got full second company. I will show you from closer view more in a few minutes. They got 40 veterans from first company and something about 60 marines from third company. This is the thing. These are the things that I will talk to you a little bit about later. So I decided that my second company will be mostly based on multi-guns and missile launchers. So every tactical squad have got missile launcher, multi-gun, combi, multa. Of course, Devastator squads have got 4 missile launchers each, and in the command squad I've got 4 multi-guns. As a captain of the company, I created my Countess Vulcan Hestan, because why not? A spear and a gauntlet. Here with flamer below. So I decided to make it that way. I found somewhere in Flav that in some companies Assault Marines were riding bikes, so I decided to give Assault Marines from my second company bikes, as I said. As you can see, each have got chainsaw, and of course, lightning. Okay, 4 arrow crossed, 4 arrows crossed on their shoulder pads. Of course, in the squad there is attack bike with multi-melta, but it is added with magnets, so I can change it for heavy bolter. And of course, because it had to be done this way, grav guns on other bikes, and combi grav on champion, on sergeant, but with a possibility to change it for chainsword. So this is my second company. In the first company, for now, I ain't got no terminators. Most of the first company for miners should be terminators, so I decided to take only 4 squads of veterans there. I've got 4 jump pack squads of Vanguard veterans. As you can see, I decided to give them assault pistols, I call them. Every pistol with a blade in it. Some of them got power fists, and some of them well, okay, power swords. I would like to remind all of you that I'm not a pro painter. I just like to make it all tabletop because I hate to paint actually. So my stern guards are all armed with magnetized bolters. I have got for each and every one of them 4 combi weapons: combi flamer, combi plasma, combi melta, and combi graph. So I can rearm them anytime I want. As my chapter master, I've got this guy. This is of course typical chapter master on a bike with shield eternal and all the stuff. From Librarian, for now I've got 2 Librarians, one on a bike and one foot based with some beams from his hand. Quite happy with how they look now. So this is the first company. I've got Stone Talon now, 1. I've got few drop pods, few rhinos, 2 for now. These are Razorbacks, of course. These are models from Puppets War. I don't remember the name of it, but they look much cooler than models by GW. Of course, I can change it to become a Rhino, because why not? And every weapon on the turret is of course magnetized, so I can change it to anything other I want. This is now magnetized with Puppets War version of Heavy Bolter. In second company there are mainly last cannons and flamers. So I've got there 2 units of Devastator squads with 2 Devastator squads with 4 last cannons each, 2 units of assault squads with 2 flamers each. This is the kind I decided to not give them jump packs, so they will mostly work in some kind of transport, most probably with drop pods, because I would like this third company to have drop pods for each unit, just as I would like the second company to have a Rhino or other kind of wheeled transport for for every unit. Besides that, I already have got 1.5 tactical squads and last cannons for rest of the squads. I already got race models, but they are not painted yet, so I'm not showing them here. Now let's jump to the last part of my force. I decided to base most of my units on Adeptus Mechanicus, and if there were not 40k Mechanicus, I had to create ones. So I decided to use at the beginning the Inquisition Codex, because the Acolytes gave all the options to create something really cool. So I got here, maybe I could zoom it more. So I've got here 30 Skitari Acolytes with Stormbolters each. Of course, Psychers, because nowadays you have to use everything you can to win. I got Rhinos, Razorbacks, just as with my Space Marine ones. I'm using Puppets War miniatures. Of course, servo skulls. I used pieces from Tempestus, Science, to create these. More Tempestus models I used to create my Inquisitors that I use as, you can call them Mechanicus agents. It's kind of tech priests. This one is actually with Incinerator and Force Sword, because I played this guy as Psyker. I got 5 of these. Some of them got removable weapon to be able to change it to some other thing, and of course power weapons for each of them. I created a single Inquisitor Tech Priest or something like that, with no upgrades, so I can use him as the cheapest one. Of course I used again pieces from Militarum Tempestus box, and my Countess Inquisitor Cotis. I created him to be more tech based. As you can see, I added him some servo arms, and his Cyber Eagle became a servo familiar with some kind of rackets. Everything is controlled by the pilot that he's got in his hand, and of course a book. So I decided that he would look as much as I can to the original model. These are the models that I used to create the base Skitarii Force, and then I decided to create my Secutors. For Secutors I used Space Wolves Codex and created Iron Priests. Second part of my Mechanicus Force is based on Space Wolves Codex. I decided to make my Secutors as Space Wolves because of the chivalry, of the cavalry. So here we've got my Wolf Lords with Storm Shields and Chain Swords, one and the second, with lower bodies of Juggernauts of Khorne, and upper bodies with Tech Priests, of course Mechanicus shoulder pads. Main part of this detachment are my Wolf Lords, of course with Thunder Hammers, servo arms and bolt pistols, with lower body of Juggernaut and the top body of Tech Priests as well. So they have all got runic armors, and of course Cyber Wolves made by models from Wild West Exodus. Great models, a little bit smaller than typical Cyber Wolves, so I gave them extra layers of basing so they were higher. As you can see, there are color markings on each one of them, so every priest has got attached 4 wolves to him. You got green one, blue one, red one, white, purple and yellow one. So this is for now all of my force. I talked about squads, and I'm currently waiting for a package to arrive. I want to create I'm going to use Forge Fathers models from Mantic Games with weaponry of Tau. So I'm going to create squads count as Tau. I think that they will look awesome. What can I say more? This is all of my collection for now. Hopefully I will show some more in the future. If you've got any questions, please write them down in the comments below. If you like what you saw and would like to see some more, please like and subscribe to the channel. And that would be all for today. So thanks for watching, and see you later.